Hey everybody, it's Chase with AV Pop Culture again, and today I am back with another list of 10 of the most outrageous, most ridiculous, most over-the-top, fun, and absolutely the most raunchy comedies from the 1970s you might have missed. So pop that tape in, I got you, let's go do this. All right, so 1970s, boy, was that a different decade for a lot of reasons. There was some decadence there that kind of kicked off and took off into the 1980s. And if you haven't checked out my 80s list of these, then make sure you check that out. I'll try to link it here. But for the 1970s, there was actually maybe a little bit more in the way of being offensive, being kind of over the top, raunchy, bordering into, kind of graphic comedies that just didn't care. You had that drive-in culture, all of that kind of stuff, a little more liberation going on at that time, just kind of kicking off. And the movies from that time period absolutely reflected that. There was, no inhibitions for the most part. It was just about fun, all gas, no brakes, not worried about being politically correct, not worrying about being offensive. A matter of fact, the more offensive, the better for some of these movies. And we have a list of 10 that you might not have seen. So you're not going to see any of maybe your biggest ones, maybe your most well-known. These are the ones that kind of flew under the radar just a little bit. I like to give those first, and we're going to take a look at some big ones eventually on some lists, the all-timers. But this list is for those that maybe you just missed. So let's just jump right into it, starting at number 10 with 1979's Gas Pump Girls. Now, this one fits this category to a T right off the bat. You have a new group of recently graduated high school girls. They just graduated high school, and June and her friends, that they have decided that they are going to take over the dilapidated, somewhat kind of old school, falling apart gas station, service station that her bedridden uncle owns. And they are going to have to, let's just say, pull out every trick in the book in order to compete and stay kind of relevant, because right across the street is the new, fancy, modern, all the bells and whistles gas station, and it is threatening to put them out of business. These girls are not going to let it happen, even if they have to pump gas topless in bikinis, whatever it takes, every trick in the book, they are going to use all of their assets in order to make this happen. You're not going to look for a big, deep plot here. That is the plot. All the rest of it is the hijinks that is built around that plot. And of course, your TNA, your fun, your laughs. Gas Pump Girls is an absolute perfect fit on this list. It comes in at number 10.
That turns it on. Right. Then you stretch it out. Can get pretty long. And you stick it in the car and squeeze. And the gas comes spurting out? Right.
Now, at number 9 on this list is going to star somebody that you really recognize. He is a big star, and I use that term figuratively. I'm talking about 1977's The Van, and it stars Danny DeVito. And he's maybe not the lead character. The lead character is, again, we've got another teenager. This is that teenage, like, drive-in culture like I was talking about. And in this particular movie, it has all of those drive-in vibes, because you have this raunchy experience that all starts with the main character wanting to get a Dodge van and kind of pimp it out, for lack of a better term, and spruce it up so that he can kind of shake off the doldrums of his life, have a lot more fun. And that fun is going to constitute picking up the ladies in his new fixed up van. And in order to maintain that lifestyle, as it starts to work, in order to maintain that lifestyle, he is going to start racing other people, other vans, for money. So you kind of have all of that going on. You have a banging 70s soundtrack. This is going to play, I can't remember how many times, Chevy Van by Sammy Johns is played in this movie. But you're going to have that 70s soundtrack. You're going to have 70s cool clothes. You're going to have literally pimps and hookers and car races, cool cars, awesome 70s vans, a simple plot, lots of fun. It is 100% this list. And if you haven't seen it, it's worth checking out just to see Danny DeVito and for listening to the soundtrack alone. Forget about all the other raunchy aspects of this that are a lot of fun, and just don't take it too seriously. Have fun with it. 1977's The Van comes in at number 9 on our list. Now at number 8 on our list is one that is only this low because maybe out of all of these, there's a couple more that might be a little bit more well known. And this is maybe one of them. I'm talking about 1979's H.O.T.S. Now, that is H.O.T.S. And there is a rumor, I couldn't confirm this, that H.O.T.S, the H.O.T.S, are the initials of the actresses, the 4 main actresses, but I couldn't find that out for sure. This is a college exploitation film. Plain and simple. It focuses on the wild and kind of naughty escapades of the H.O.T.S sorority. These very liberated and just fun-loving women. They're going to get into all your usual college exploitation stuff here. Wet t-shirt contests, skydiving. Maybe that one's not so usual, but it is in here. There's also a little game of strip football in here because why wouldn't there be strip football in a college exploitation film? And of course, these girls are going to deal with a lot of frat boys. And all of that is fun and games until, of course, you know, they have to deal. They're very liberated. They have so much fun, all this kind of stuff, uninhibited. But then they have to deal with their very, like, kind of stuck-up counterparts, not to mention the administration from the university. So they're got to deal with that whole thing. It's a very simple and typical plot, and it's actually filled with several, I believe, Playboy playmates were starring in this movie as part of that sorority. So you know where you're going with this. You know that it is not to be taken seriously. It is just for fun. It is a perfect fit on this list. H.O.T.S comes in at number 8. Now, number 7 on our list is one that I actually do have. I recently picked this up from the MVD Rewind collection. I am talking about 1979, again, right here on the edge of 80, Cheerleaders Wild Weekend. Now, this actually had another title. It was originally The Great American Girl Robbery, which really makes no sense when you watch the movie. This one's a bit lower because I don't find it completely a comedy overall. It definitely has a lot of comedic elements. It starts very, very funny. It is about a group of rival cheerleaders who are on a bus to a state competition, a state cheerleading competition, when their bus is hijacked and they are kidnapped by a group that are led by ex-football players, like pro football players, and they hold these women for ransom. Well, all of that, like, especially early on, it's very funny. It's hijinks. They are stripping in the bus, going down the road, making people stare and run off the road for laughs and all this kind of stuff, and kind of one-upping each other. And then it takes this kind of turn where it's almost an exploitation, like a women in prison type thing, because the kidnappers start to make them do beauty pageants and perform. But then it takes this comedic turn back again because, again, they can't help but kind of start trying to one-up each other again and again. So the beauty pageant quickly becomes like a strip beauty pageant because they don't like, even in this situation, they don't like the other cheerleading factions getting more attention than them. And then it kind of takes another turn when these women try to escape. And then by the end, it's comedy again. It is a very wild ride. I think Wild Weekend is definitely the way to describe this 100%. Of course, it is filled with TNA. It is filled with like cheerleader gags. You know, like these women are clearly not high school cheerleaders by this time. It stars Kristen DeBell, who went on to do some other things, and Jason Williams is the lead actor in this. And I believe he might make an appearance in another movie on this list that he might be a bit more well known for. But Cheerleaders Wild Weekend is definitely a wild ride. You're going to get some perspective if you pick up this MVD Rewind Collection Blu-ray from the main actresses in this film, and that is pretty cool. You can hear what they think about it. They thought it was a wild ride and a good time. So because of that, I recommend it to you. It comes in on this list at number 7. Now, at number 6 on our list is Chevy Chase's film debut, or at least what is said to be his film debut. I'm talking about 1974's The Groove Tube. And what this is basically a bunch of skits kind of put together. It is really to make fun of TV. So instead of like calling it the boob tube or whatever they call it, the groove tube, because this is the 70s. So what? It was groovy, man. It was the 70s. But all of these skits are pretty raunchy to the point where Chevy Chase in this is sitting on the bed in a bedroom trying to deliver lines and deliver his skit. And there's a woman undressing the whole time, and she completely undresses, and she is rubbing her underwear, her panties all over his face, and he's trying to keep a straight face and deliver his lines. That was his debut into movies. So this was right before he ever even got to Saturday Night Live. So you've got a party stripping sequence skit in this, because why wouldn't you? All kinds of stuff. It is kind of like one big long giant like Saturday Night Live skit put together, but very, very raunchy, very filled with TNA. I'm telling you, there's the stripping scene. There is this scene with Chevy Chase, who does a hell of a job. I was honestly laughing my ass off watching him try to keep a straight face. If that is the only part of this movie you watch, it is absolutely worth it. For that reason, it comes in on our list at number 6. Now, at number 5 on our list is a movie that somehow managed to spawn 2 sequels in this type of genre. I am talking about 1977's Come Play With Me. This is about a health spa where you go to get well, and you do that, you go get well, you get healthy, by basically everyone just taking off their clothes. That goes for the people who are coming there and the people who work there, because why not? And that is literally the plot. There is no plot. It is a bunch of beautiful like nurses / health practitioners at this wellness kind of ritzy wellness club, and everybody gets nude for one reason or another. It's all done for either comedic effect or to try to be sexy. It misses that mark. It's all just over the top, played up for laughs. There is no deep plot to this movie. That is what it is. You know what you're getting into. It's just a good time. And I'm telling you, it has enough laughs. It has enough meat on the bone. Maybe that's a bad choice of words. It has enough there to spawn 2 sequels. Yes, there are 3 of these movies. So check out the first one. There's not a lot to say about it. It's nude people doing silly stuff, having fun. That's it. Come Play With Me comes in at number 5 on our list. Now, at number 4 on our list is one that's probably a bit more well-known, and this is where you're going to get Jason Williams. Again, I believe this is him playing in 1974's Flesh Gordon. Yeah, not Flash Gordon, Flesh Gordon. And as you might have guessed, that is a sexploitation spoof on the sci-fi Flash Gordon. And it stars Jason Williams and This is about Emperor Wang. Yes, Emperor Wang. He sends his mighty sex ray towards Earth, which turns, I can't even make it through. I've seen this movie several times, and I was like, I'm going to laugh when I'm talking about this movie. I'm laughing because it's fun. It's ridiculous. Emperor Wang sends his sex ray towards Earth, and it turns everyone into sex-crazed fiends. They can't concentrate. It could threaten to destroy Earth because nothing else can happen, and only football player Flesh Gordon can save us all. That's right. He's got to save us from the evil Emperor Wang. Yes. From planet Corn. It rhymes with corn. That's the planet that Emperor Wang comes from. Yeah, you just have to watch the movie. It is completely the sci-fi spoof here. TNA laughs, but they do go in for some pretty good costumes. They do go in for the whole sci-fi vibe. It is just absolutely batshit crazy, ridiculous. Like, ridiculous. And I could sit here and try to explain more to you, but it's just one of those things that you need to experience. So for that reason, Flesh Gordon comes in on our list at number 4. Now, at number 3 on our list is one that even people who don't know this movie, they may know a famous poster or a famous shot, a still, like a still from this movie, or like a little 5-10 second clip from this movie. I'm talking about 1979's 10. Now, this stars Dudley Moore, but most people remember Bo Derek in this movie because that is the big famous scene. She has like kind of a goldish bathing suit on, and she's running down the beach, and that was on a lot of the posters and cover art, and it's a very iconic moment. So a lot of people might know that moment when they see it, but they don't know that it comes from this movie that also stars Dee Wallace and Julie Andrews. Yes, that Julie Andrews, who happens to be basically topless in a see-through top in this movie. Yes, that Julie Andrews in a see-through top. Yes, that's what I said. And then you have Bo Derek, who famously, she went all in for movies like this. But Dudley Moore plays a 40-something writer and composer who is in a relationship, but he is not super happy. He's always like looking for the next best thing. And one day he is at a red light and he sees what he considers the mythical 10. As a matter of fact, he doesn't even consider this woman beauty at a 10. He considers her 11, a unicorn, off the charts. And despite the fact that he is in a relationship and that she is recently married, he is going through this crazy midlife crisis where he is going to track her down to this resort because he is just infatuated and obsessed with her just out of pure beauty. He knows nothing else about her. So, of course, great part for Bo Derek to play in this. The problem is she's married, and she just got married. But what's going to happen as, he tries to make his move on this? You've got Julie Andrews in here singing. Some of her songs are on the soundtrack. And you're going to see Julie Andrews as well in ways that you have never seen her. A lot of people haven't seen this movie. It's kind of, it kind of wasn't in the teen genre, even though it had Bo Derek, who was like, a very famous vixen there in the 70s and 80s. But because it dealt more with like midlife crisis of Dudley Moore, who was in his 40s, it kind of didn't register the same way. So a lot of people might have missed it, though they might recall that one iconic moment where she's running down the beach. Either way, it is perfect on this list. Bo Derek is going to steam it up whenever she's in a movie for the most part. It fits nicely here at number 3. Now, at number 2 on our list, we're going to a Cheerleaders movie again. There were a lot of Cheerleaders movies in the 70s and 80s. There was just a lot. And this one might be the most sexually kind of like in your face, graphic, gratuitous, over the top of any movie on this list. As a matter of fact, this is one that is hard to find the uncut version of. I believe there was a Code Red Blu-ray of this 10 years or more ago. And even that one supposedly had toned down a lot of the sexual activity and the nudity and stuff in this movie because it was so over the top. But this is 1973's The Cheerleaders. And when I tell you that this movie is loaded with that kind of stuff, in addition to being funny, I'm probably underselling it. Whatever you're thinking might be in the movie, I'm probably underselling it. And if you could ever find the uncut version, I'm probably way underselling it. This is that 70s drive-in, late-night B-movie, raunchy comedy, just pedal to the metal all the way, checks all of those boxes, almost sexploitation, almost grindhouse, but it's funny, right? It's a funny movie. And it is about Jeannie, who joins the group of cheerleaders, the cheerleading team at Amarosa High School. And here's the plot. Are you ready for the plot? They want to show their support and help the football team. And the way they're going to do that before the big game is to snatch the other team and basically have sex with them so much that they're going to be too tired to even take the field. That's right. That's the plot of the movie. That's it. It's funny. There's a lot of it played up for hijinks and hilarity, but they're going to grab these guys and basically work them over so that they can't show up and play the game, and that's how they're going to support their team. That is going above and beyond the call of a cheerleader, in my humble opinion, but it is fun and it is hilarious to watch, and it leads to some very fun and pretty gratuitous encounters in this movie. Don't try too hard to think beyond that. That is what it is. So if you're going here looking for some other hidden meaning, now there is a little bit with Jeannie, who she is like kind of, her parents are overly strict. So this is like part of her rebellion. So that is kind of thrown in there a little bit. So you do have that. You do have a little bit more depth here. But wow, I cannot, if what I have seen of this movie is the cut version, I cannot imagine what the uncut version is. Either way, check it out. If you're looking for raunchy comedies, this one could be at the top of the list. It's just not there because I don't think overall it's as fun of a movie as the number one on our list. But wow, does it check every single box. So The Cheerleaders from 1973 comes in at number 2 on our list. All right, so at number 1 on our list, this is a movie that I wore out a VHS of growing up, and I don't even have it anymore. I do think there's a fairly recent Blu-ray release of this, though, from Shout Studios. I'm talking about 1977's Kentucky Fried Movie. This is John Landis' film, and this is another one similar to The Groove Tube in that it's kind of told in a bunch of skits. And it's about a fake like local television show. And all of these skits are going to be kind of about their daily programming. And it kind of keeps cutting back to this guy that's supposed to be part of the head of the station or the owner of the station. And he's talking about the programming. And then it cuts to these skits. And I mean, this even has skits for fake, like as for commercials that are about fake adult movies. Like Catholic Schoolgirls in Trouble. They actually cut a bogus trailer for that adult film to be in the movie. John Landis was just wilding out on this thing. You're going to see a lot of cameos in here. You got Donald Sutherland walking through in a scene where he just falls into like a birthday cake or whatever. I mean, this thing is absolute crazy town. You've got a kung fu parody in here. You've got crazy things like the invention of furthering movies in cinema, the feel around theater experience where we feel around and see what's happening. You can kind of guess where they're going to go with that. And then there's just like random, like stupid lines in this that just make you laugh. Like, despite all of our best efforts, death is still the number one killer of people in the United States. And it gives like all these facts and figures. And you're like, wait, what? You're going to do a lot of double takes. They went through several different titles for this movies. One was like Free Popcorn. One was Closed for Renovations. And then they just settled on Kentucky Fried Movie, which somehow kind of encapsulates it perfectly. You're going to laugh out loud at this movie. If you don't, check your funny bone. Check your pulse if you don't laugh at this movie. You can grab it on Blu-ray. This is one that you definitely have to check out. I actually think it's on Tubi right now, too, if you want to try it before you buy. Now, I don't know about the censor, like how much of that's censored versus on physical media. But Kentucky Fried Movie was like a rite of passage for me when I was younger. It was one that I saw when I was about, well, I would say that movie was probably about already 8 or 10 years old before I saw it. But man, did I wear it out on VHS. And I think you will definitely enjoy it. I think maybe it's one of the most fun movies on here to go along with the TNA and the raunch and the over-the-top, outrageous. And it is offensive. It is offensive. Equal opportunity offender. It does not care. So if you're easily offended, you probably want to skip it. You probably want to skip a lot of these if you're easily offended. But if you just want to have a damn good time and enjoy comedies, kind of adult flavored comedies from the drive-in era, from a different time, that are like a time capsule, that a lot could not be made today. People were way less uptight, way less worried about being offended. They understood that stereotypes made for good satirical comedy, and it wasn't to harm anyone. These movies predate everybody worrying about that kind of stuff, so they just absolutely go for it, balls to the wall. And that's what you get here from the drive-in raunchy type cinema here with these comedies. And I hope you enjoyed it. That's the list that I have for you. If you enjoyed these, I have lots more of these lists that I can do from the 70s, 80s, 90s, all kinds of different lists. And I really enjoy doing them. I love bringing out movies that maybe you forgot about, maybe you missed, giving some love to some stuff that I grew up with that we kind of don't think about anymore, that kind of serves as a look back, and all that nostalgia and all those vibes that you can have a good time with even right here today. And if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. You can join below if you want to help support the channel at my Patreon link, or right here on YouTube. A couple dollars a month, you get your name and lights on every single video that I do. You're going to get behind the scenes looks at my filmmaking. If this is your first time here, I'm a working filmmaker. I've been doing that for about 20 years, a couple of decades. So you're going to get some of that stuff behind there. Special members only videos, all that kind of stuff. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing, hit me up. Email me at avawithchase@gmail.com until we get the shop up and running. We will be taking orders that way. Just some fun designs of my own making and all kinds of good stuff here. But you don't have to do any of that. Just hang around, spread the pop culture word. I really, really do appreciate it. And until next time, be kind, rewind like always. This is Chase with AV Pop Culture, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye. Bye now.